Nvidia releasing its second quarter results here, taking a look at the street's reaction, up just about 0.7%. It looks like it is a beat here from Nvidia in the second quarter. Taking a look at adjusted EPS coming in at 68 cents. The estimate was for 64 cents. We know much of the focus was on the data center revenue specifically, so let's get right to that number. It's 26.3 billion. The estimate was for 25.08 billion. When you take a look at overall revenue, that's also coming in better than what the street had been anticipating for the second quarter. 30 billion flat. The estimate was for 28.86 billion. You take a look at some of these other individual lines that are coming across right now. The company also approving an additional 50 billion in share buyback here during this quarter. And looking ahead here to what they are expecting, we know guidance was critical here and key, something that the street is closely watching. Take a look. They see third quarter revenue of 32.5 billion plus or minus 2%. The estimate on the street was for 31.9 billion. So Josh, when you take a look at this, what is yet again another very strong report here from Nvidia, and at least at initial take, shares moving to the upside, up just about 1%.
Yeah, you make a beeline for that data center number, Sean, as you mentioned. They beat on that. They also beat on gaming revenue, 2.9 versus an estimate of about 2.79. Looks to me like margins did hang in there. Adjusted gross margin, 75.7%. The estimate was 75.5%. And the shares rising. It looks like, well, now we're down about 0.6%. I'm interested for a lot more color and commentary from CEO Jensen Huang, both about the current lineup of the so-called Hopper chips, which have been wildly successful, and the new AI chips on the way, Blackwell. We also have, of course, right here to give us his breaking response and reaction, the one and only Brian Sozzi.
Hey, I'm still reading this stuff, guys.
Brian,
come on, wait, come to me now.
It's immediate, Brian. You got to get us the immediate reaction.
It's weird to look at a quarter. I judge Nvidia quarter over quarter. That's what I think a lot of people in the street are looking at. It's strange to sit here and say revenue quarter over quarter, non-GAAP for Nvidia up 15%, earnings up 11% quarter over quarter, and say that is disappointing. But initially, that's what you're thinking. And you made a good point, Josh. You pointed out that data center revenue, you as well, Seana. That beat, and that's a good thing. It tells you, I think, demand is strong. The outlook looks pretty good. And then also you got to keep in mind that this is a company that, again, grew triple digits year over year in terms of revenue and earnings per share. You had margin, you had operating income up 156%. But again, you probably wanted more of an earnings beat from Nvidia, maybe even more upbeat guidance. I think this quarter, at least initially, you got to get on that conference call, got to hear from Colette Chris, got to hear from Jensen. But by and large, I think you wanted more from this company. Maybe the street just didn't get it. Maybe the street has finally caught up to what this company's producing.
It was interesting. I heard some analysts, Brian, saying that the real data point they were looking for, the real pressure point, was actually not in this report, and it wasn't in the guide. They were going to very carefully listen to what CEO Jensen Huang said in the call about when he thought they would come into kind of a demand-supply equilibrium.
Yep.
What's the timeline there? And I think that is what they're focused on. That is what could really move the stock as well after hours.
Well, the guidance would suggest that it's the Blackwell delay may not be that big of a deal. Obviously, you don't want to hear anything delayed when it comes to Nvidia. But by and large, this is a core that suggests the company's products are still very much in demand. It just might be a street estimate thing.
Yeah, some headlines crossing the wires right now. Nvidia saying that changes are needed to improve Blackwell production. That could be one of the reasons why we are starting to see the losses escalate just a bit here after hours. But the company did also have some positive commentary surrounding Blackwell within this release, saying anticipation for Blackwell is incredible. They talk about the fact that Blackwell production is scheduled to ramp beginning in the fourth quarter. They say that samples shipping to partners and customers right now. But again, I think it might be part of that line there, just the fact that changes are needed to improve Blackwell production that could be maybe causing some of this reaction.
Really good point there, Sean. I will mention this too. We have been talking about this all week, as NVIDIA is the most important stock in the entire stock market. And I get it, it is. But I would caution everyone to think that this is a direct read-through to the broader economy, other AI plays. At least right now, this is NVIDIA perhaps having some problems getting some of its key technology to market. From pure demand side, this was a very, very good quarter over quarter and year over year for NVIDIA. So at least right now, you don't want to think that the market could fall off a cliff tomorrow morning. Just take it in stride. Let's see what they have to say on that earnings call.
Yeah, all eyes on the call now. Thank you, Sozzi.